Well, you've kind of started answering my next question. With the Olympics around the corner, given what you know about the current game within the UK or within New Zealand, wherever you feel more comfortable, do you think those countries are necessarily ready to capitalise on potential growth in terms of additional player bases coming from abnormal sources? There seems to be a large collective of people coming through who've never played 15s.
Yep.
But their first introduction is to 7s. Do you think we're kind of ready and set up for that at the moment?
I think we're potentially more ready than maybe some of the other Olympic sports. You know, I know London 2012 talked about legacy, and you know, all of a sudden, you know, my kids are 6 and 7. They're exposed to handball and volleyball and water polo and those sorts of things, and they've probably had bigger challenges. What we're lucky is that with rugby we have a pretty extensive foundation already with a lot of existing clubs and structures and that. So what we need to do is try and tap into those. And I think the decision is how does sevens fit within the rugby structure. I guess that's what I'm sort of saying. I think it's allowing for the specialist, but it's also allowing for the guys to use it as development and come back to 15s. It's also potentially for some 15s guys as an exit back in, you know, Eric Rush was a great example of someone who made his name in 7s, became an All Black, did really well in 15s, and then went and actually retired playing 7s. So different skill sets. You know, so I think within rugby we have development structures. It's how do we then, is making sure that there's an allowance for people that are interested in the 7s game. I think you're right in terms of there's an opportunity. Our game of 15s is very complicated. It's a great game, it's the best game in the world, but it is very complicated, you know. So, and which is why 7s is at the Olympics, I would imagine. So what we've also, so I think the opportunity to recruit from outside of rugby is probably higher in 7s, as you say. You know, that athlete, that 100-metre sprinter who maybe is not quite Olympic grade, might be someone that he's probably going to look at 7s and go, well, actually, that's not a bad effort, you know, rather than showing him a game of 15s where he's in rucks and walls and all that sort of thing. So in terms of, you know, recruiting from other sports, it's making sure we're ready for that. And I think different countries will do it different ways. I think, you know, if you look at probably the best set up country for 7s, it's Fiji. It's their national sport, and they play 7s. And they play 7s and they play 7s. You know, so they have those tournaments, regular tournaments and structures in place. No, I don't think there's any sort of necessary, any set you know, tournament competition structure. But again, I think a lot of that comes from inspiration, and that's what hopefully the Olympics will provide. You know, Spain beating England, you know, that sort of thing becomes, that's the inspiration for Spain. Not great for England on the day, but great for Spain. And as countries achieve some success, you know, I know the people at Canada are working very, very hard. And if the other thing is with 7s in some of these other countries is the government funding, obviously through Olympic sports. So it's been really it's a tough one for them because they have to medal to win the money, and then it's how do you use the money. So getting that balance between, you know, achieving now and in the short term to get the funding, and also create a legacy in terms of your development structure and competitions for long term, it's a fine balance. And I think for everyone it's different, but what I'm saying is those are the things that have got to be considered.
Okay.